Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're ready to go. All the signs are, yeah. So welcome to everyone here and also to people joining us online to this session. The title is A New Aid Deal for Fragile States. And this is an issue, namely delivery of aid effectively in fragile states, that is set to be high on the agenda at the upcoming high-level forum on aid effectiveness in Busan this November. And I guess following on the WDR on conflict, fragility and development, the World Bank's World Development Report, we're all very conscious that there are major challenges in fragile states. There's a much repeated soundbite from that document that according to their definition of conflict and fragile affected states, no conflict or fragile affected state will achieve a single MDG by 2015 in terms of the projections. So this is an issue that's become much more significant since earlier high-level fora on delivering aid. And we are delighted to be able to bring together an extremely strong panel to discuss this, including representatives from civil society, from the research community, from the Fragile States representative body, which is leading this, the G7 Plus Secretariat, and also from bilateral agency as well. I will briefly introduce the four panelists and then we'll move ahead with the discussion. And the panelists have kindly agreed to keep it reasonably short so that we should have time for a good discussion at the end. Our first speaker, we're delighted to welcome Dr. Helder da Costa, Senior Advisor in the National Directorate of Aid Effectiveness in the Timor-Leste Ministry of Finance and Head of the G7 Plus Secretariat. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, the G7 Plus isn't quite what it sounds like. It's a global forum composed of 17 of the world's most fragile and conflict-affected states. And Dr. da Costa comes fresh from representing the G7 Plus at high-level discussions on Busan being held in Paris. And he will give his own perspective on the role that aid can play in peace building and state building. And in fact, I'll introduce the other speakers. We have Cohen Davidson from the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who is co-chair of the International Dialogue on Peace Building and State Building. We're delighted to welcome also Henry Smith, Director of Safer World, an international NGO working to prevent violent conflict and promote cooperative approaches to security. And also from ODI, Marcus Manuel, who leads the Budget Strengthening Initiative here, which is something within ODI that we are working on to support some of the world's poorest, most fragile and conflict-affected states to develop effective, transparent and accountable systems for managing public finance. But let's kick off now. Dr. da Costa, would you like to get us going with your own perspective?